Y'all already know what time it is. You are tuned in with your guys, Joe T.
D. Johns.
And right now, we don't got the name of the podcast, so we just rocking, having grown conversation. And y'all already know what it is. We're going to get straight to it. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. Trying to get out of this cold.
Man, you and me both. You and me both, man. They had a snowstorm back home. Man, I actually had a relative, man, close cousin. Yeah, I had a wreck, man. Got to slide in that snow.
Wow.
Hit the back of an 18-wheeler. They ain't gave all the details, but yeah, totaled it out, man. And they know the whole family was really on some, why was she out? And of course she was going to her mama's house because she be sitting with her. But, that snow, man, you got to be careful.
Yeah. Back home for Virginia, for me, they got like 6 to 8 inches, which is pretty good. But Virginia gets all seasons, and that's why I left. I don't need all the seasons no more. I'm cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I had called my mama, man, and she told me about it. I called her back 2-3 hours later to check on, see what's going on with cousin. And my mama, I could tell she wasn't. I was like, where you at? She was like, I'm in work. I said, so you went out in the snow too? And that's another thing, man. My goal is to, you know what I'm saying, I don't even want my mama to be in them kind of situations, man, because a lot of time them jobs, you have to do stuff and sacrifice certain things, and really, man, you need to take that day off.
Yeah.
And you got to go.
My wife worked at a hospital, and when we had the snowstorm that we didn't get, but like Frisco and all them got it a couple weeks ago, they pretty much said, be here or be here. Those are your eyes, and be here and bring a bag overnight if you got to work tomorrow.
Right.
You might want to do that, but make sure you're here.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man, if you got snow in your area, any kind of bad weather, man, I just want to say, man, be careful. Be careful, man. Be mindful when you step out, man, because some things ain't worth it. It just ain't, man. Your life is not worth I need to go make these twos and fuse. Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, I understand, but a lot of times it ain't worth it, man.
What they say your position will be posted before your obituary.
Man, quick, man.
And people don't care.
But yeah, man, I had a few things on my mind, man. I really I had a few conversations with some family, some friends, some associates throughout the week. And it all seemed like it stemmed towards them having to compromise their morals and principles based on loyalty to other people. And in these conversations, I had 2 or 3 of them, man, and I was like, man, that's blind loyalty.
Yeah.
It's so hectic because I could disagree with you, tell you why I disagree with you, what my morals are, what my principles are. And because I won't just follow you blindly, there's hostility. Now it's awkwardness. Now it seems like you trying to treat me as if I'm not, and then you'll get off the phone with me and you'll call somebody else that's gonna say yes. Yeah. And then guess what? You ain't gonna believe this. I was just talking to such and such. I'm explaining the same thing. And no, just because I don't want to agree with what you got going on, and I'm trying to tell you something right. That don't mean you should expect me to blindly follow you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as I thought about it, D. John, man, I was like, man, it's a couple of categories for that.
Several.
Family want blind loyalty. A lot of times, friends want blind loyalty. Your environment, especially coming from the Black community where I come from, they want blind loyalty. And then occupation, your job.
Yeah.
Your job could want you to be all in, and maybe every now and then throw a little party, give a little couple of incentives. But you as a person, knowing you got to pay your bills, you're trying to take care of your kids, you really not in a position to stand up.
Yeah. Gotta take what they give you.
Yeah, the benefits and all of these things that's working on your mind, you compromise the value that you really worth based on blind loyalty to an extent. What you think?
Man, as you were ending it, it kind of got interesting to me because I've been in the position of deciding somebody's future at work, and it's not fun. And that's the only valuable takeaway I had, is that it never got fun for me. Some people it was fun. Like people just became numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers with a salary, and you're trying to reduce and you're trying to make the company a certain level of profitability. And those conversations get real.
Yeah.
Like so-and-so got to go. And it's not always based on performance. So that loyalty, that's what hit me at the end. I'm like, ooh, where do I actually fit in this? But the family, the environment. What are we saying when we say environment?
When I think I'm thinking more so from a street aspect.
Okay.
Let's use the word snitching for instance.
Okay, yeah.
It could be a family member that may have told something.
Mm-hmm.
The streets expect you, if that's what we living by, they expect you to treat that person excommunicado. You want me to be blind.
The code.
Yeah, you want me to be blind. Or you want me to show blind loyalty to these codes and guidelines that y'all done created when it come to that environment, like our community.
Yeah.
Even if I grow up, even if I start to grow up and give my perspective and how I've started to grow and see things different.
Yeah.
You still expect me to, I guess you can say that's a part of the crabs of the bucket mentality. As you growing, they don't like that. You want me to continue to just be blind.
Yeah. I'm throwing out there that's probably going to get, so I realize that no matter how I present myself, somebody's going to find controversy.
Facts.
And I guess that's the world you've been living in. So here we go. I like another form of that is buy black, which I completely support.
Mm-hmm.
For some, it means buy black indefinitely, no matter your experience, no matter the quality of the product, no matter the customer service, spend your money here. And I think that's one of your favorite words is entitlement, but like we got to have standards with our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And without those standards, that's where you get to the blind anything. So I think this is going to be I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. We'll see how many flush me this time before we.
What you said is right on. The customer service in a lot of black restaurants trash.
Oh, you said a lot.
A lot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
we had those. One of my one of the comments against me was saying all of a thing when you don't know all of a thing, which I get.
Yeah.
So we got to be mindful of they, if you care.
Yeah, but if you care. Oh, if you
shout out to my guy that pointed it out. He cool now. He followed us
for sure. What up though? But a lot of times you should use them, and when it comes to social media, you should use shock value commentary.
There you go.
But because a lot of people won't respond unless you say things like that where they feel attacked. It's
like the guy the pastor that chimed in on TikTok. He was like, "Prove it." It's
yeah,
like we depend because I put on the words I put we depend more on the government than on God.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Prove it." Prove that we don't.
Prove that we don't.
Of course, it's subjective.
Exactly. Yeah. It's supposed to be. But yeah, man. A lot of when it comes to our culture, our people, blind loyalty. We're in the context. When you go to spend your money at a black-owned restaurant, you should feel when you pull up like this is dope. Your people in ownership. Your people are employing our people. You're expecting to go in here and get a beautiful experience. That's how I normally feel. When I hear a restaurant open and they say it's black owned, I go look at the picture, I'm like, man, that's dope.
Yeah.
When I walk in, I see black faces at the register. I see black cooks. I see black waiters. Everything black. It's beautiful to me. I didn't grow up seeing that. Actually, the first place I seen that I like to call Wakanda Black is Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
My first trip going to Atlanta as a young kid, black police officers, black construction workers. I'm talking about black everything. You go in a restaurant, everything black. Grocery stores is, I ain't gonna play. It made me kind of nervous seeing so many black people in a Walmart or a Kroger. Because where I'm from, when it's a lot of black people, something happened. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, so it was kind of overwhelming to not see. It's diverse, but you could tell we predominant there. When it come to pulling up to these places and then going in and getting a horrible experience, bro. They don't want you to leave bad reviews. They don't want you to say, "Hey, I've been waiting." It's like.
You're supposed to understand. Just understand.
You supposed to just let it ride. Hey, my girl been waiting on her drink for about 30 minutes. I done seen you get 2-3 other people's drink. I'm gonna get to it. I'm busy. I know you see I'm like the respect, how they respond. They want you to continue to come to this place. You want me to be blind to how I'm being serviced here.
And that's a tough thing in any business, is that like the owners, as the owner, you may have a vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're bringing on people. And if we're talking about it in the context of Black owned and Black employed, you're bringing on people that have to represent you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's a very tough thing to give up that it's not even really power, but to put that on somebody else to feel how you feel about the business that's your baby.
Mm.
To some people, it's just a job and they perform like that. So I get the whole, we got to be mindful of bad apples and not lumping everything into one. I get that. But where I'm talking about the blind expectation is, it almost questions, should we even expect excellence when we go into these places? If we don't, now we're thinking that we're not like they, and we can't do things in a big and a grand way as they do. But if we expect it and the expectations aren't met, how do you communicate that, and how do they receive that in a way that's actually pushing it forward? Because that's the whole goal. If I'm giving feedback, like I'm very, they say you're 8 times more likely to leave a bad review than a good review. But that was a stat at one time when I was going through marketing. I don't know what it is now, so don't tell me to prove it. Go look it up. But, you know, it for me, because I come from a customer service background in terms of corporate, where we were always the person, the group that had to adjust. We need to figure out a way to make things better for everybody else, because it was easy to blame us. And then, you know, that word travels fast. So what do we do? Should we have no expectations, which I think is a disservice to the actual business, or do we go in and respectfully? Because I get that too. That, you know, people go off on a tangent or go off on a tear, and then they start talking about all restaurants like this. But like, what's the how do we get to a place where they get into a better service, they're getting the reputation that they want, and we also feel valued as a customer? Like, what? How do you do that?
I'm gonna shoot it straight, and you know I might take some pushback. The kinds of situations in restaurants that we were describing right now is the owner dealing with a certain quality of people. You're doing the hiring, you're doing the vetting. A lot of times you're choosing and picking, especially when it comes to women, based on look, body type, mentality, personality. You don't even care. You thinking nice body, nice face, bring business. Same thing with a lot of churches doing that too. You bring certain artists or certain prophets or certain, because you know it's bringing people, and you don't care nothing about if they really living what they saying. When it comes to the restaurants, how is it that as an owner, now I'm gonna stay on the quality of people. Why does it seem like when we having a us and them conversation, really a lot of times what's being said about the us really be solid? We setting the tone and keeping that tone, never making the transition to be viewed as a better quality of a person or principles and morals. You ain't making no transition. If you're hearing the exact same thing about how restaurants are being ran or how club service is, how is it that we can all have this conversation, know exactly what that experience is, what them facial expressions are, what them responses are, and as a whole, we ain't looking at the quality of people on a majority end. And then going to the quality, because a lot of times, I guess we also got to look at, because we want to support our own. Certain people don't go to certain places.
Sure.
Point blank. You ain't catching people who live in a certain type of way or expect to be treated a certain type of way. You ain't catching them at them places. What's the word they use now? Low vibrational? Are the people, me too,
yeah,
who complaining about these places are we just as low quality and low vibrational as the place?
Yeah.
Why am I in them environments?
True.
You feel what I'm trying to say?
I do, because when you said that, I started thinking about places that I don't go now that I may have went at one point, but it's not even so much about. Well, I guess it is part of quality of life. Like I don't want certain vibes.
No.
That used to be fun.
No.
And exciting.
Yeah.
At that stage of my life, but at this stage of my life, I don't want that. So so that's a good point, because if I knowingly don't want what's probably offered at a place, and I go to the place and get exactly what I expected, that's on me.
It's on you.
That's really on me, right? And I know somebody gonna be in a. Well, how you just gonna categorize them? You never gave them a chance. We all view life through the lens that we develop over time.
Thanks.
I don't have to get burnt by the same stove 1,000,000 times to prove to you that it's hot to me.
Exactly.
It was hot to me at one time, and I'm cool on it.
Right. Now, to go back to the blind loyalty, when that happens, when that transition happens, then we don't support our own.
Yeah.
Then you want me, once I woke up to, I want a better quality. I have a standard.
We on the slope now.
I don't want to listen to certain music while I'm sitting down eating.
We on the slope.
I don't want to see certain things going on while I'm, you know what I'm saying? Now we don't support our own.
So what are we required to support?
What are we required to?
I'm on the slope. I'm down the mountain. So I am guilty of having a bad experience at a place that is of a type.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm somewhere in another environment where I assume that place is of a type,
mm-hmm.
and I'm just not going.
Mm-hmm.
And I might not be going to any more of them
mm-hmm.
anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's fair, but that is like, what am I required to experience? Like, how many times do I have to have a certain experience before I'm qualified to say, for me, that's not for me?
Man, listen. My first 5 minutes, if it ain't for me, it ain't for me.
Yeah.
It ain't for me. I'm gonna tell you, any place that people done already described as a mood, a vibe, lit, I know what's going on there. A lot of people are saying that's our culture. Even what I just said, mood, lit, vibe, it's associated with us. They're gonna automatically say that I don't like my people. Now I know what's going on there.
So let's push that one. Like, so what you say you automatically know what that means. What does it mean to you? Because it might mean something different to me.
It's gonna first and foremost, the attraction gonna be the waitresses, the women. The DJ gonna be playing all kinds of music that I done grew out of. The food gonna be overpriced, but it's gonna be a lot of dancing and kicking it going on. It's gonna be a lot of hookahs being blown, and everybody gonna be dressed to impress. Got their outfits from Shein or Tamu, but they acted like, you know what I'm saying, they got on $1,500 worth of clothes. And then the women in there, majority of the time, you know what I'm saying, they looking for the baller. You know what I'm saying? That's normally what them places be. It's a mood. Your mood is certain things going on in this environment, but it's the same thing.
But is that based on the type of person that recommended it to you, or if anybody says that to you, it's a vibe?
The person.
Gotcha.
Because only the people who into that
Gotcha.
are the people who saying that. And yeah, them overpriced, the overpriced food is a whole nother thing they want you to be blind to. A lot of these restaurants now ain't even putting their prices on them. You got to wait till you get your ticket. You got to wait till you get your ticket, fam.
$18 per fry?
Man, listen.
Fried that joint in liquid gold or something.
Nah, for real, man, for real. But yeah, that's one thing as far as like the environmental culture and stuff, man. But the heavy hitter really, man, is that blind loyalty, I think, to friends and family.
I hope you're gonna go there. Yeah. Yeah, so that gets interesting because especially with the friends, and I don't to me, either family or an acquaintance.
That's real.
Like I don't have that. I mean, there are some legit friends, but in terms of people that I invest my time with and I had care and concern for, I typically call them my family.
Yeah.
So I think it matters where you met them in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I got partners back home that I call my brother. I don't have any blood brothers, but I got partners that I call my brothers that my parents call their sons, and their parents call me sons. That kind of relationship. And we've been kicking it 30, 35 years, and we're different now than we were then. But throughout that maturation process, there were things that if you with the team, you with the team all the way. And I don't know that anybody today says that, but that's because of where we are today. Like at 19, but anywhere from 16 to about 22.
Yeah.
You could literally come in and say, I got a terrible idea. This might go bad.
Yeah.
You rocking?
Yeah.
What time we leaving?
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that it makes sense. It made sense at that stage of life, but my point is it changes over time.
Yeah.
The challenge for me is when some people are stuck in that 16 to 22 stage at 44.
No, that's real.
At 48.
No, for real.
Then what?
You want me to be blind?
Yeah.
You want me to be blind too? Man, I'm gonna jump out there, man. It's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother podcast when you get into parental entitlement.
Ooh.
But the parental entitlement can coincide with the blind loyalty.
Ooh.
Now, love my mama dearly. Everybody know on my platform, I shoot it straight out. My experiences back then on that, but I use things to help people relate. You know what I'm saying? Growing up as a child, when I went to prison, one of the factors, now I made the choice myself of what I did, but one of the factors that played a part of this was my mama saying that she was about to quit her job. She wanted to quit her job because she was finna get into this janitorial service. But the janitorial service was like a pay-in thing. Gotcha. And how much it cost. And I was in the streets at the time. She knew I was in the streets. So she had told me, I think it was like $1,500. She told me she needed $1,500 and she was going to quit her job. And I told her, give me a week or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Let me get my ducks in a row. My mama ended up going to work the next day and quit the job. Didn't get
pressure.
Yeah, pressure. Ooh. Came back and was like, I need that money. And I'm like, I told her, and she was like, boy, I quit my job. Like, I need that money now. To me, exactly. But, once we did what we did, you know what I'm saying? I know some of that pressure came from, shoot, I can go ahead and hit this lick. I ain't got to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Over time, when I look back, and not just that instant, but a lot of things concerning my mama or family, there was a lot of things. Go ahead.
No.
That I feel like it was blind loyalty. Like I compromised and did things for you, even if it put me in real ugly or bad situations. And then by the time I started waking up to that and I started saying no, I started setting boundaries, then it turned into a sense of desperation of, I don't talk to you for a long time, or now you're saying certain things to try to make me feel bad about myself. You want me to conform back to that person you was able to get over on, you was able to manipulate, you was able to take advantage of, that person that was blind to doing certain things for you. You know what I'm saying? And by the time I started waking up, so I wanted to say that even when it come to my mama, when it come to my dad, when it come to, it's certain things that I can pinpoint that I know, man, that was blind loyalty right there. Like I really.
And it's easy to take advantage just by nature of the relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, who won't do something for their mama?
Yeah.
And so what the thought that came to my mind was like how people's loyalty to you is tied to your willingness to jump out the window.
Bro.
Right? And I'm sure they'll put the free me t-shirts on and all that once you get caught. But I think that's a real thing. And that's something that I'm concerned about with my children, all of my children, but like my adult children, because we moved around so much, like this is the first place that we've settled in where they're making like long-term friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been in Texas for 7 years. Yeah. Woo. March, yeah. I think I came out March 2018 and the family came out in like July. So this is the first time that they're, like I said, like having relationships that endure more than a couple years. Now, they may still be in contact with people that they met along the way, but I'm talking about, like, I'm riding out people that are showing up to the house when sleepovers or parties or whatever. And it's like, man, because we lived overseas and crime wasn't a factor where we lived, like, you could literally go to sleep with your door. Like, if you walk through the mall and drop the equivalent of $1,000, which is, the system over there was dirhams in UAE, somebody would chase you down to give it to you.
Wow.
Like, they don't.
Yeah, it ain't.
Like, they legislate morality, and that's another conversation. I think that's where the U.S. is. Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah.
But good countries like UAE legislate morality. So when we came back over here, like, I'm noticing even my wife don't lock the door, you know what I'm saying? Or you could go in the store, leave your car running, like things like that, where now you're having to adapt quickly to people that have never lived like that. And they're young, right? So they're like, when we came back, my oldest was going into high school, so she's trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And I had, they're basically 2 years apart, the first three. Then the younger ones, they're starting to see life through the lens of the U.S. in terms of, like, school system and all of that, because that's most of what they know. But it's a fear thing for me, like, what they'll do to be cool. Because you come into a school where not everybody, but most people have been, like, going through the school system together. Like, you was in middle school, you're in junior high, whatever, high school. So that's always a thing for me, especially with my son, because my son, like, street sense, and it's not a knock. It's just not his experience.
Right.
My life wasn't your life. I chose to be around some street activity because it was attractive to me. Not that I had to do it, but it gave me some awareness. Like, my son, he don't know what kind of weed to buy.
Yeah.
He doesn't smoke. But I'm just saying, like, but that's a real thing, because when I was young and trying to experiment, it was weed or weed. Hydro. It won't the killer, death, murder, 112, 15
with the 2
stack knockout. Let me pull on that.
Right.
Like, and they don't know these things. So that's people who take advantage of, I guess that's the around the bend.
So can peer pressure be blind loyalty?
Can lead to it.
It can lead to it.
Can lead to it.
You feel like you're compromising your principles and morals, something you deep down inside disagree with.
Sure.
But you're going to do it anyway to try to fit in because you don't want to.
Sure.
Yeah.
And especially, it's like staying on the teenager example, the kids example. As a parent, when you see that, how you do or don't correct that sets them up for life.
That's true.
Because I know they're taking advantage of him, but he seems so happy hanging around with him. I know they're making him pay for everybody fries, but you know what I'm saying? But, or they just kicking it with him because he got the car or she got the, you know what I'm saying?
Man, bro.
That sets you up for life.
I had a conversation with one of my cousins about 2 weeks ago. Her son ain't talented, gifted. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to that music, like, he like to play with his words. He creative, period. You know what I'm saying? This is a kid that I know that could do probably anything he set his mind to when it comes to their creativity. Drawing, music, like, whatever. We in a culture where he sent me some music and he wanted me to listen to it. And I listened to the music, and it's the shoot 'em up bang. It's the drugs. And my little cousin probably ain't number 14, 15. The song was banging. I didn't respond to the message after I listened to the song. I didn't know what to say. Because same thing with my daughter. I didn't want to make it as if I don't support you. But I also understood he doing that because he feel like this is what I have to do or should do or have to say for people to listen to it. About a week went by. Me and his mama ended up on the phone. And she was like, oh yeah, you need to listen to my son. I was like, he sent it to me already. She was like, what you think? I said, I can tell you. I was like, I think he's good. And the content.
Skill.
She was like, I already knew. She was like, because he told me, send it to you or whatever. And she was like, I had to explain to him, they call me Boo back home. Boo, he probably didn't say nothing because that ain't what he on. And I asked her, I said, what you say to him? What was your response to the song?
It's the mama.
And she said, first he said he came to her and said, Mama, this ain't what I live. This ain't what I believe in. I know this ain't how you raised me. But he said, I'm doing this so I can give you and my siblings a better life. Because I know this is what people gonna want to hear and listen to. And then I said, what was your response? She was like, I just told her, you know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand. And it was more so along the lines, it sounded like a do what you gotta do.
Validation. And
I told her right then and there, I said, ain't no knock, like I get it. I was like, well, that's dangerous.
I got a cousin the same way. Like our mom's a sister's my first cousin. And he went through that phase too. Luckily, and here's the hope, luckily he grew out of it, but he was same lifestyle as me, probably better. He was the only child, right? And his parents really catered to him, and he was everything that he wanted, he pretty much got. But he's a gifted artist, like spoken word, rap, writing. Like he's done some stuff for me. But he had this, and he gonna love you, cuz. He had this one, we talked about, he had this one series, a mixtape called Bail Money and Lawyer Fees. And it's about the street. And by the time he did that, that's no longer attractive to me. I still get it. But it's like, is this a reference track for somebody else to use? Like who you writing for? Like what killer are you writing for?
Right.
But it's the thing about, it's more than music. And it's more than movies. It's more than it's more than all of it. But whatever way you choose to ingest your poison, like that becomes a part of you, and you start to emulate it, even if it's not your lifestyle.
Thanks.
So what you said about like pressing your cousin's mom about how she felt about it, I think that's key, because that sets the tone.
Yeah.
Right. And it starts to set the standard for, or the precedent for how far can we compromise in life. And blind loyalty leads to unlimited compromises in life, because once you start down that path, like we're talking about, that, like who would jump out the window for it? Like, let's bring him. I know he gonna swing.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, everybody else can chill, but you know he gonna
every single time
he gonna swing, or he gonna pop or whatever.
Yeah.
And and that translates to being real.
It does. I went through it with my daughter. My daughter does music, you know what I'm saying? But she'll go there. But she good. And I went through one of them parenting moments where it was tough on my flesh. And she had asked me to share it on my story one time. And I shared it at one time. And I had people respond like, I know it's your daughter, but you know what I'm saying? You don't, you know what I'm saying? I know. And then her mama hit me. And once her mama hit me, I explained her. I was like, you know, I did it that one time. I don't want her to get in her head right out the back. He don't support. I said, you know, I'm going to have this conversation with her, in which I did. And after that, it wasn't expected of me no more. Like, she'll send me something and let me hear it, but she knew where I stood. Like, she get it. Like, we don't have to, and it ain't no me being blind to my child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it built that bond of her respecting my principles and morals versus, I'm going to go on and do it. I guess my daughter put peer pressure on me. but yeah,
parental
man.
pressure.
Yeah, man. And it's like you said, it's good to set that tone, not just in the conversation we having, but for your associates, your friends, your family, it's good to let it be known. These are my principles. This is what I stand for, to shape that relationship for it to be real. Because the minute you open that door to being blind, the minute you show them you can see, there's a problem.
All right, bro. I think this is our 6th sit down. About to see how it's gonna work out after this. You might cancel me.
Come on with it.
You cool?
Yeah, run it.
Okay. All right.
Let's get it.
Mr. Unhypocrite himself.
I'm with it.
So how do you how do you explain traps to our community? and I'm not gonna front like I don't have insight or we haven't had like. But when you present the imagery that represents a lifestyle, and it's not even about you no longer being in it, but you not being on that. Like, how do you communicate its intent and still maintain what you stand on?
That's it.
So I mean, we gonna see.
I'm gonna start first with just being honest. Tyler Perry. I'm gonna start with Tyler, and then I'm gonna answer the question.
I see what you're doing.
Watching Tyler over the years.
That boy good. That boy train. The train. YouTube checks get to him. YouTube checks got him.
Watching Tyler.
Okay.
Watching Tyler over the years, you know what I'm saying? Certain content of how he built it, you know what I'm saying, and where he was going, and now I feel like, and I think I'm gonna go in a different direction though. What I feel put him in a box for his audience. I've been real critical of Tyler Perry and changing directions, but he started based on what he know. So my question for him was always, you started on what you know. It's a lot of us in that audience when we watch him saying, okay, when you going to start portraying us in a different light? You're a billionaire at this point. You started that. It helped you get there. When do you make the transition? Me, and this ain't make no excuse for traps. Starting out in the beginning, this is what I know. This is my references. This is my testimony to an extent.
Yeah.
This is, you know what I'm saying? So when I did it, I'm thinking, let me start out, because that's who I'm trying to reach first and foremost. I'm a fisherman. I believe I still have permission from the Most High to be able to fish, but making sure I'm keeping it centered in Him. So as I'm doing traps, I'm gonna be honest. Within episode 3, I got convicted because I was most definitely getting prideful, and I was like, "Shoot, I'm having fun. Like, I can dry this. I could dry this." And I got a call. Somebody had a dream, and the Most High spoke to him about. And they said some things, and I knew it was true.
Gotcha.
I got a text message in the group chat right now. I can show you from last year. I responded, and I said, I got to end traps right now. I felt convicted. I said, and I apologize for anybody that I've misled or think, you know what I'm saying, that's what I represent. So over time, after that, after about 2-3 days, I didn't go on no fast, but I did a lot of meditating, a lot of self-reflecting, and, okay, what you doing?
Yeah.
And then at that point, I felt I got permission from the Most High. You could do it. You need to center that in me somehow. And then at that point, I turned my character into a person who's conflicted with that life.
Gotcha.
I'm thinking I create something that I know our generation and some majority of our culture and young people will be prone to listen to, versus Forge. I think that's the name of the Forge. If you didn't watch it, check it out. I checked it out. It's a great message. I'm mature enough to receive it. A lot of people where I come from in my hood, they ain't gonna get through the first 5-10 minutes because that ain't what they own. That ain't what they hearing. By the time they see drugs, guns, dope, women, let me see what this on. Because they mind.
Yeah.
Paul said, to all men, I become all things. To me, I'm transforming to become all things. Even to a lot of people in the church will look at it as a compromise. I'm looking at it as, man, he was amongst wine bibbers. He was amongst prostitutes. He was amongst.
Yeah.
How do I go over here, still be amongst them? Because even outside of traps, a lot of people can't see the ministry that happened with the group of people I was around. The conversations that I had during traps. The things, you know what I'm saying, when they didn't get to see the ministry happen.
Yeah.
In the magic of the thing. Like, so a lot of that I keep near and dear, but I get it when people say, but traps is such and such and such and such, but traps is such and such and such and such. How are you? My question always be, did you not see where I'm taking it? It's my first project. That's all I knew. That's what I was, you know what I'm saying? When 21 Dre's dropped, I've already made the transition early in the career before I get, if the Most High blessed me with millions and billions like the Tyler Perrys and everybody else who stay. I heard him and I heard the people.
Gotcha.
my question would be to the people, even after saying that was my goal with Traps, will you still hear the message without the mess? Will you still pay attention without the shock value, without the provocativeness? Will you still, because I know dealing with social media, a lot of times, bro, I do and put certain captions to grab you.
Yeah.
Because I can put a completely different caption on the same video. You will read it. Your mind will commute. That's boring. I don't want to hear that. Boom. That's the same reason why you don't know how to build your credit. Because all these people who explaining credit, it's boring to you. All these people who explaining how to do certain things and build your business, it's boring to you. But the minute you see something about a celebrity, the minute you see something toxic, the minute you see some drama for some reason, you can sit there and listen to that for 30 minutes. Risa Tisa dropped Who Did I Marry, I think. She had 40 episodes on there. They was 10 minutes apiece. You sit and listen to the whole thing, but you won't listen to that, learn how to build your credit. That'll take you 15 minutes. So, you know what I'm saying? A parable in the scripture is a basket with handles.
Mm.
And a lot of people say, I can't believe he's sitting there doing that. I am. Because I know my ministry.
Yeah.
I know, you know what I'm saying? I ain't asking nobody to be blind to what I'm doing. If you understand spiritual warfare, then go before me. You don't have to watch it. Just ask them to keep me covered as I'm in the harvest where it's plentiful. I'm in the harvest. I ain't in the church where everybody saved. I ain't over here in the gatherings where everybody singing church music. I ain't over here where everybody holy, holy. I am out here.
Yeah.
And where I'm at, my DM show that. He said, you a North Fruit Bad Street. My DM show the gangster. My DM will show the gang member, bro. I understood that, like, for real, bro. You said something. My DM show the young man saying, man, bro, what you said about such and such, bro, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? My homeboys don't be on it. My DM show fruit. My conversation show fruit. As a believer, if you watching it, don't automatically look at it and say, But if you hear me trying to, and you know it's consistent, just ask him to go before me. So that's the best way I can explain Travis. My first project, that's what I knew. That's what I felt, you know what I'm saying? And I just tried to keep him centered in it. I was conflicted because, and I gotta say this too, bro, 'cause that was good. I was conflicted. I think I felt my conviction from him, most definitely, to keep it centered.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also convicted in the conditioning and the blind loyalty to the church on what it should look like, what I should talk like, how it should be represented based on what I have been taught by the church my whole entire life.
Yeah.
What, you know what I'm saying? The presentation need to look like churchy. You know what I'm saying? And my prayer life has changed based on me realizing the Holy Spirit ain't mimicked. It's not behavior modification. I don't carry myself. I had to break and unlearn. This is what they told you it looks like and what's associated with having the Spirit. When you talk, when you preach, and when you, not saying that they don't, but there's a lot of ministers and pastors who hoop based on they saw it versus the authenticity of the Holy Spirit himself.
So boy, down the slope we go.
Come on with it.
So we talk about the and shouting and all that.
Mm-hmm.
As an adult, I had to learn to discern where possible and leave it to God where not, when I saw that kind of stuff, because I grew up in a church that didn't even have drums in it until I was maybe 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
It was you didn't clap during the song, barely clap, barely said amen loud. So for a child going through that becomes my standard. This is what a Christ-centered denomination or group looks like. So when you go somewhere else, and I'm keeping it in church because that's my story, but it parallels because now when I go, getting older and I go visit a Baptist church, can I say all of them are wrong because that's not my experience?
Come on.
It's all church.
It's all church.
And we're not talking about hood activities versus baptism. Like that's not the stretch we talking about. We talking about all this presented as thus saith the Lord, and we're in here worshiping and honoring him this way because this is the way that we do it. So that I get what you're saying, that it looks different within the church, from church to church, even within the denomination. I will go to some churches. I'm like, man, y'all do that? I thought we was just like, y'all do that?
Yeah.
And I'm not putting that on God. That's on man.
Right.
So the problem I have with any religion, if there's a problem to be had, is that man's hand on it.
Facts.
Has shaped it into why we have 80,000 of them. I don't know that that's the right number, so don't fact check.
Right.
But one thing that you as you were responding, a verse came to mind, and I didn't know the verse, but I knew a phrase in it, so I looked it up. Right, we don't know all the verses.
Right.
But Romans 14:13 says, "Therefore, let us stop passing judgment on one another. Instead, make up in your mind not to put any stumbling block or obstacle in the way of a brother or sister." And that could be looked at as two ways, like, well, Joe T, you putting these images out. Or it could be looked at as these images are grabbing and drawing, and you're against that. One challenge that I had in my church journey was my experience, not all of any. My experience was the church was really good at ministering to people that came in the building.
Come on.
Really good at ministering to people that came in the building, loving on them, but the neighborhood might not even know their name.
Suffered. And in the scripture, Yeshua, who we know as Jesus Christ, said himself, if you're amongst the brethren all the time, ministering to people that you know already are saved, you are no better than a tax collector. He said, if it's 99, I'm going after the one. Where do we see, not all, but going after the one?
Yeah.
The prostitute that's on Harry Hans or back home on Dickerson Road. The people that's, and I don't want to, addictions, whether it be pornography, whether it be
we're gonna get to that.
Alcohol, whether it be drug, whatever the case may be, the young, a lot of these churches and ministers are afraid to even go and talk to gang members. You're afraid to be amongst people that you know got switches on their guns and extendos and all of these. So where you have to be spirit led when you in the harvest, because regardless of when you doing ministry with the heart of people and souls, you have to understand you're going where there is going to be temptation amongst you. You're going to familiar territory of where you come from. That's, to me, that's who you can minister to. There, and the church got to be mindful of, if the church sent me out 2 by 2, and they say, well, just, and I understood what my ministry is, where do you think I'm going? And what conversation do you think I'm having to grab them? It's cool for me to tell my testimony, the church. If I put my testimony on TV, is it viewed the same way as traps?
So one other interesting fact is that, like, I've only known my parents to be in the church. My mom was of another denomination and switched to the denomination that my father and his family were before they got married. So I've only known one experience when it comes to them. She used to have a play that she wrote called Last Train of Glory. And it was about the second coming of Christ and trying to reach the world, those that are forgotten, the wino, the prostitute, and all of these people. And she go around churches and having it. And it wasn't, of course, the prostitute wasn't dressed as they would be on Harry Hines, but it was clear that it was a representation of a prostitute. So, like, thinking through it from that perspective, which, of course, I never had a problem with because I was my mom, and it was accepted in the church. But it was about the same thing. It was about who's going to reach the wino, who's going to reach the prostitute, who's going to reach the drug dealer, who's going to reach the unsavory business person that has fallen away from God, and tell them that God loves them.
Who's going to tell them?
Like, and it was, it's almost like when you talk about, if you go out 2 by 2, like the setting of the church relaxes so many people and oftentimes allows things to come into their spirit that maybe in some churches, not all of anything,
right.
not all of anything,
Right.
but you get such a, and it's kind of warranted because you go there as a place of healing, a refuge, and you believe everything is sound is coming out of there, but it's almost like it rocks you to sleep. It can. So again, ministering to people in the church is cool on the day that everybody's in the church, but how do you get to them? How do you get to the people that can't even look at a church?
That's a whole nother conversation. A lot of people who are in the church, I'm looking at you when I say this, a lot of them not even equipped, have not been discipled to even go out amongst the harvest. Most people can't even effectively witness. You know the gospel of the Messiah, that he came, he did ministry, he was crucified, he rose again, died for our sins. But when it comes to like effectively witnessing, being knowing how to relate to people and really and get to and compel them, it's being able to give a hope for what it is that you believe. Most people can't even effectively do that and been in the church 20 years. Why you think I don't realize you don't understand what I'm doing? You never been a fisherman. You've been a churchgoer. You've been a hearer, never been a doer. You've been in church 20 years. The only people you done probably, which you think you done witness to is your family members. You done said, I prayed for you, or, God love you. You took that as witnessing. You never been in the harvest. Biblically. Me in the harvest, knowing spiritual warfare, knowing my prayer life, knowing I'm seeking him, knowing the conversations I've had amongst people and doing it, knowing what I'm doing. Why would I expect you to understand? You ain't never jumped out there in your ministry and realized you amongst the wolves.
Wolves ain't, well, they are in the church. They just dress as sheep.
Oh, they in there.
Yeah.
Oh, they in there.
They present as sheep.
Yeah, man. I love the kickback from it, man. And, I always look at, my fiance asked me the other day, she was like, because I was telling her, I took some kickback again the other day. This woman basically said I done became cocky and all kind of stuff. And I was like, man, I'm actually the same person. I'm actually doing more than I was. I'm a little more passionate about what I'm doing, man. And when I read that made me think about some things. But I told my girl, I said, I feel like, and I'm going to say this unapologetically, it's like I've started to attract a different quality of people. When I was at the bottom doing what I was doing, telling the stories how I was telling them, which was worse than trap if you ask me. I was telling my stories, I'm talking about uncut, unadulterated, but then going into giving the word, same way I did with traps. I have the exact same method since I started, saying something to grab your attention and then giving you the word.
Yeah.
I said, she was like, who you think you're attracting now? When she asked me that for a whole different other reason, but I know her, but I was like, yeah, man, I caught it, man. I was like, I'm attracting more men now. I see more men in my DM relating and understanding the journey of manhood, maturing, and trying to break off and unlearn cultural things or conditioning and the programming and trying to understand being a family man more and knowing it's okay to marry, it's okay to be a father, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be like I'm starting to see more men now. When I was telling the stories in the beginning, of course it was attracting a lot of women, but it was the mindset of it, why it was attractive, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you hearing, you're getting both sides. You see the bad guy and you see the person made the transition. But the truth of the matter is you want the bad guy. You want what come with what I'm explaining with him. But you want the good guy. You want the good guy based on you think that's what's making you safe, because you really want to hold that over my head to be able to say, I wouldn't expect you to do that because you in ministry. But you love and cling to the bad of me. You want the sexual, the way I explain it. You want the gangster of me. You want, But the minute I try to get out of line, you're going to try to chastise me with the word, if that makes sense.
The interesting thing about the word is that the word is like a movie.
Yeah.
Like you read some of the stuff. Like I went through Isaiah,
man,
about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of Isaiah. I was like, I had to get to something more positive. Isaiah is, I don't play. If I don't play was God in real form, it's Isaiah.
Man.
There's probably some other books that I ain't got to yet, but it's like I think so many people look at the Bible as a character base that they don't realize that there's nothing new under the sun, and these characters are still, these people are existing in real time.
Literally.
So David was a man after God's own heart. He's a murderer.
Man sent the man to war to get his wife.
I need your girl. Boy, go kill something.
Listen,
because I'm killing your girl.
Man, was awful.
And like it's such a, that's my point. I think it's the disconnect with the Bible and what I believe its intent is, was they basically instructions before leaving Earth. Like these are cautionary tales, not in terms of being fictitious, but here are the stories that have happened, and there's technology now that gives different vibes and different ways of doing the same thing. But how do we accept that this book can present all of this? But how dare traps be on TV?
Boy, you said it.
Anywho.
And with that being said, man, you know, a lot of us who are believers tend to forget a lot of details that's in the scripture. The many faces of ministry.
Nasty work.
The many ways and hearts of people that he chose. It's a lot of time we forget those, and we get we want to pick and choose which. I got a word in my spirit the other day before, and it was like I heard him say, "My word does not contradict itself." But when I heard it, I knew it was because I watch a lot of people, when I'm in the context of something, quote scriptures that don't fit the context. And when you have people who are immature and don't know how to eat, they still on milk, they'll hear what a person said in a context of something, see a scripture that look like it contradict what's being said. The Most High could give you a word that has something to do with correction and chastisement, talking about people's rebellion and lack of repentance and disobedience, and it'll sound harsh. Then you'll get somebody to explain something of what love looks like, and now it looked like the word contradicting itself.
It's all of it.
Yeah. And I was like, man, that's dangerous, because if you'll look for something to soothe or comfort you or make sense to you that's beneficial to your spirit versus hearing the context of what he's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So, man, y'all already know what it is, man. If y'all ain't eating with me and D-Char, I don't think you like to eat. It's point blank period. I don't know what you like to eat. Maybe you need to go somewhere where they serving that low quality service and food.
Low vibe place.
Yeah, low vibrational. But man, it's your guy, man. Joe T, I'm kicking it with D John on Deer Network, man. You got something you want to say before we go?
There's a network in the building, man. I'm having a good time with this, man. The feedback has been good. We still need a name.
Yeah.
I appreciate the process.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. It's a blessing.
Out here.